Here are 6 brilliant, amazing, timeless period films you've probably never seen. So let me dive into several of the strongest period films that you might not have ever seen. Keep in mind, this is strictly in my opinion only. To which are in no real order, because they all stand on strong cinematic properties that make them the tour de forces they are.
In a dark time, when hope was bleak, there lived a young girl. There will be signs that mark her return. Pan's Labyrinth.
Number 6, Guillermo del Toro is a Mexican filmmaker and an author. Del Toro, known for The Shape of Water and Hellboy, Pacific Rim, and many other films. If you're not familiar with this particular director, he recently came out with a kind of anthology of stories or composite of stories on Netflix. So you're probably more familiar with his work than his name. If not, let's dive into which film I'm considering number 6 on this list, which is an incredible masterwork in many of the litany of films that he's done. Pan's Labyrinth is a 2006 fantasy horror film written and produced by Del Toro. This story takes place in Spain during the summer of 1944, 5 years after the Spanish Civil War, to which I may add, Del Toro is a total visionary when it comes to creatures of extremely of the unusual kind. And you'll notice that in the theme of many of his works that are kind of centered around horror. Del Toro, in my opinion, is a master of making the allure of mystery and fantasy. This is an absolute must watch, and there's not one person that I know of that has seen this film that did not immensely enjoy it. The film grossed around $83 million at a worldwide box office and won numerous international awards. Number 5, Quills.
The name is Justine, as pretty a maid as ever entered a nunnery. The old priest lifted her skirts high above her Venus man, so light, begging to be cut more smoothly when it's lubricated.
Oh, yeah, he's got a chisel to sharpen his teeth. He's a writer, not a madman. What's he doing in here then?
Quills is a 2000 period film directed by Philip Kaufman, inspired by the life work of Marquise del Sade. Now, this movie has an interesting type of review so far as how it was received by the critics. Quills generated numerous accolades, including nominations for an Oscar and a Golden Globe. Mostly centered in an insane asylum, an inmate, the inspiration of Marquise del Sade fights a battle of will against a prudish doctor. The Quills filmmakers and writers said they were not making a biographic of del Sade. There's a history with del Sade I won't go into, but apparently there are, I guess, some mixed reactions on this film being considered accurate to the portrayal of the actual person that it's based on. But the actual writers said they were just exploring issues such as censorship, pornography, sex, art, mental illness, and religion, which is very well depicted in this film. This film truly delivers. I enjoyed this film because it was very unpredictable. It was interesting to bring such a different dynamic of what was stated earlier. And it really captures the story of the two main characters. This is another master film with beautifully shot scenes that are wonderfully designed and that invokes the period perfectly of the 1700s. Number 4, The Count of Monte Cristo.
In return for your help, I offer something priceless.
The treasure of Monte Cristo.
You are wealthier than any man I have ever heard of. What do you want to buy?
Revenge.
This is a 2002 American historical adventure film, which is an adaptation of the 1844 novel of the same name by Alexandre Dumas. Directed by Kevin Reynolds, this film stars James Caviezel, Guy Pearce, and I might add, this has a very young Henry Cavill. Some of you may not have heard of him, but he played a modest character of an iconic superhero by the name of Superman. This has a main storyline of imprisonment and revenge preserved, but many elements, including the relationships between major characters and the ending, modified, simplified, added or removed, all of course to fit the particular narrative of the 2002 portrayal of the film. The Count of Monte Cristo was released in the United States on January 25th, 2002. There's nothing I can say about this film to stress that it's a very must-watch, and I can watch this film over and over, time and time again. Number 3, The Red Violin.
The star of the night, the so-called Red Violin. Who will start us off?
Prophecy foretold of a masterpiece that would be born of tragedy. It foretold of a journey that would call forth a prodigy.
Our little red violin. The red violin.
Now, the time has come.
Guess I never thought I'd find it.
When it will reveal itself once more.
This is now 72, the so-called Red Violin.
Number 3, The Red Violin, directed by Frances Gerard, is a 1998 drama film and starring Samuel L. Jackson, Carlo Chicha, and Sylvia Chang. It spans 4 centuries and 5 countries as it tells the story of a mysterious red-colored violin and its many owners. The instrument, made in 1681 with the future forecasts by tarot cards, makes its way to Montreal in 1997 as its last stop, where an appraiser identifies it and goes to auction. The film was an international co-production among companies in Canada, Italy, and the United Kingdom. The film was shot in Austria, Canada, China, England, and Italy, and has a phenomenal soundtrack. My personal opinion about this film, I don't want to be repetitive and say another must-watch, but there's a reason why this list has been composited. This film is really 4 to 5 stories, all in one movie, to which, in my opinion, this violin almost possesses each owner it comes in contact with. This is how I put great movies like this to the test. If the movie runtime is 2-3 hours or more, but when you watch it and it feels like only an hour has passed, it's a damn good movie. And this movie is a gripping cinematic work with a journey that will leave you well then more gratified and satisfied and ready to watch again and again. Make this movie an exceptional watch. I cannot stress enough. This is another one of those films when I ask people or recommend it in point of conversation, many have never heard of it, but when they watch it, they understand why I put this at the top of the list of many films that you must see. Number 2, Max.
I'm Max Rothman. I sell art, mostly modern stuff. I'm open to everything.
I think it's good, but I think you can go even deeper. When I look at this work, I see a really pretty solid technique, but what I'm missing is an authentic voice.
I've seen the future. Believe me, it came straight at us.
Max is a hard film. Now, these are period films, but some may be very difficult to find. When I've talked to friends about the movie Max, one of the reasons, if particularly in the United States, certain movies that are made abroad are not usually in a rotation or a digital library or inventory of many of the streaming services. Max is one of those films. You might have to do a little digging to find it, but it was set in 1918 by a character by the name of Max Rothman. This is played by John Cusack, and he is a World War I veteran who lost his arm in serving in battle. And through a chance encounter, he's approached by a young Adolf Hitler played by Noah Taylor, who does a brilliant job. Max is a 2002 British-Hungarian-Canadian fictional drama film that depicts a friendship between the Jewish art dealer, which is Max Rothman, and the young Austrian painter Adolf Hitler. So this film explores Hitler's views while also studying the artistic and design implications of the Third Reich and how their visual appeal helped hypnotize the German people. The film goes on to study the question of what could have been or what could have happened to Hitler if he had been accepted as an artist. Number 1, Perfume.
In 18th century France, Jean-Baptiste Grenouille was born with a talent that made him unique among mankind.
Stones, warm stones.
No man can call himself a perfumer unless he has proved his worth.
The soul of beings is their scent.
The intoxicating power of the girl's smell made it clear to him that he must learn how to preserve scent, so that never again would he lose such sublime beauty.
The Story of a Murderer. This is another magnificent film that really falls under the radar for most. This was directed by Tom Ticker. This is a film made in 2006, but is a period psychological thriller film based on the 1985 novel of the same name by Patrick Susskind. The film stars Ben Whishaw, Dustin Hoffman, Alec Rittman, and many others. Set in the 18th century France, this film tells the story of Jean-Baptiste Grenouille, and he's on a homicidal quest for finding the perfect scent. It takes place in Spain, Germany, and France. The film was released on September 14, 2006 in Germany. This is a very unorthodox and unusual film with visuals and scenery and a cinematic richness like I will guarantee, which is very strong to say, like one you've never seen before. The cast, every particular person who is in a particular part of what they play, I mean, they bring this to life in such an exquisite way. The richness of the locations are so bountifully rich that it will leave you astounded. This is why, out of all of these films, Perfume is really number 1. If you want to start somewhere, I will guarantee and love to get feedback and comments if people agree on any depictions, any of that are on this list, because they are extremely, exceptionally well done to where these are films that are in my digital library that I could never get sick of watching. And again, for me personally, I always say that's one of my criterias when I look for a good film. It's something that I will never get tired of watching, and it's something that I'm going to always enjoy, and if I buy it, it means I love it. So thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this list.